Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Brian here again. Alright, so I have a couple of videos I'm going to do today, but this is the first one. And this is a little bit about the Dark World Yubel. Jason was asking about building a Yubel deck. And although I want to once again just emphasize that the Demon Swarm, which is the Yubel and Zector hybrid, is still the most successful Yubel deck that I've seen out there so far. This one's pretty good too. So really what you need when you're building a Yubel deck is you need a really solid core, and you need to be able to work around having Yubel in there. So Yubel is going to be we're going to have our 5 pieces of Yubel. Whoop! I lost a card. We're going to have 2 of the regular Yubels, followed by 2 copies of the Terror Incarnate, and 1 copy of the Ultimate Nightmare, just because the Ultimate Nightmare is a little bit harder to summon. That's usually enough to do what we want to do, and in this deck we're going to actually have a Dark World as our main kind of thing. The only other thing in here that's going to be really kind of Yubel based is going to be our 2 limit reverses that we're going to put in. But Yubel's going to work really well with our Dark World because Yubel is a fiend and a dark fiend, so already we are not going to be slowing down at all in terms of using cards like the Gates of Dark World, which we're still going to run at 3, and we're not going to be afraid to discard Yubel, or in some cases we'll actually going to be removing Yubel, to further serve our goals. Another card that's really great with Yubel in Dark World is the Trance Archfiend, because you can put Yubel into the graveyard very, very quickly, and that means that you can limit reverse it right back out. Plus, if you get the bigger pieces of Yubel in your hand, like the Terror Incarnate or the Ultimate Nightmare, and they're really not much use to you in your hand, Trance Archfiend is a really good way to ditch them off. Also, when you're using Dark World, you have all the Dark World cards that are discarding stuff for you all the time. So you got your 3 Dark World dealings. I got 3 Dragged Onto the Graves in here, and I've got the 3 Reckless Greeds in here. The Reckless Greeds are really great too, because when you're running the 3 Reckless Greeds, if you get stuck in that position where you can't draw for 2 turns, Yubel can really bail you out of a lot of that, because she can usually hold her own for a couple of turns, and it really costs you no cards to keep her on the field a lot of times if you do things correctly. Now, Jason already saw the main deck. There's another video of the main deck that I put together, but I've also pulled aside some other cards, and I want to talk about them. And these are all possibilities that you could, tech in, work in as you see fit. Things that I've thought about. First of all, a 3rd Limit Reverse or a 3rd Trance Archfiend is always an option. Those are both just very good cards, and just remember the Trance Archfiend will activate the Dark World effect, so like if you discard a Beige, it'll special summon. If you discard a Brow, to draw. So, then Stygian Street Patrol is a wonderful card that Chris Willett turned me on to. This is also a fiend with 1600 attack, 4 stars, dark monster. When it destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the level of the destroyed monster in the graveyard times 100. You can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon 1 fiend type monster with 2000 or less attack from your hand, which is really going to include most of your cards, but specifically Yubel can be special summoned from your hand with this. A lot of times you won't want just Yubel out there unless you have a card to sacrifice, but we'll get to that in a quick second. This is also really nice because when this gets removed from play, and when the Yubels get removed from play, these are going to be targets for our Trance Archfiend. Because when our Trance Archfiend gets destroyed, it's going to let us return a removed from play monster to our hand, a removed from play dark monster to our hand. So Yubel or our Stygian Street Patrol, which this can then become a loop, or we can feed into a Yubel loop. Those both become options, and we can actually keep Dark World monsters in our graveyard for other uses. Dark Arm Dragon does work with Yubel Dark World very nicely, so that's an option. And although I didn't put it in here, Sangan is definitely a great choice to go with the Dark World and Yubel theme. I personally chose to steer away from going with the 2 torrential tributes. This is just because my Yubel is going to clear my field so often that I don't find it necessary to run the torrential tributes in here. But if you want to be able to turn off the Yubel effect a little bit easier, boom, torrential tribute is a lot of fun, and then I can bring out the 3rd level, and that's really what torrential ends up being used for in the deck. And then this, I didn't put it in here, but Foolish Burial is really just a great card, especially in this format, and I really, like, if I was going to go play this in a tournament, I probably would, if of all the cards, Foolish Burial is the one that I would find room for and put in. Also, I just want to make sure, these 2 I pulled aside just to say, do not use these in this deck. Morphing Jar, I know you might think you want to use Morphing Jar in here because you get the Dark World all discarding and then you get to replenish your hand, but it's going to replenish your opponent's hand too. And a big part of your advantage in using Yubel is that it's going to keep clearing the field and limit the cards that your opponent either has or is willing to play, because once all their monsters are continuously being destroyed, they're not going to want to summon out as often. So yeah, if you use Morphing Jar, it's just going to end up helping your opponent more than it's going to hurt your opponent, and it's really not going to make as much of a difference to you because you have all the other draw cards. And then Gateway to Dark World, this one, don't use this. This is not a good idea for you if you're playing Yubel, because no monsters can be special summoned on the turn that you use this. So even if you use this on your opponent's turn, if they then destroy Yubel, you won't be able to get to the next level, and that's a problem because we're always trying to cycle our Yubels. So there you go, Jason. I hope you enjoyed that, and that's a little bit closer look at the Dark World Yubel. Oh, yeah, last big combo, just to keep this in mind. Greppa is the big gun, and the Terror Incarnate with the Greppa. This is the tag team you do want to get on the field. If you can get this, normal summon, bounce back to your hand, special summon from the graveyard, end phase, destroy, next turn, repeat, turn to hand, special summon. That can continuously get you 3,000 points of damage. Works even better if you got 2. Alright, have fun, talk to you later.